I'm Yael Calhoun from Green Tree Yoga, a 501c3 nonprofit. I took Dave's training a couple of years ago and was so inspired that I redoubled my efforts to get trauma-sensitive yoga into the Salt Lake City VA. It took quite literally over 2 years to go from my initial approach to the 10-week pilot, 3 classes a week, to the fully funded 1-year program, 3 classes a week. So here is the story of how we did that. We being the operative word. These general ideas could easily be applied to other facilities. I'd like to share these 5 steps with you and offer you many of the resources that we've developed. Step 1. Take the time to find out what yoga programs the facility currently has and what programs they've had in the past. There may be an existing yoga program with funding that they would like to shift over to trauma-sensitive yoga. If not, there's Plan B. Find out what the strategic plan or the transformation plan is. That is, find out what the program focus is for the year. For example, it may be women's programs, PTSD, or the soldiers of the current war. It's important to align your program initiative with the strategic goals of the agency. The VA's strategic plan is available online. Step 2 is to make a contact at the VA. You may want to start with a health and wellness program, but your contact could also be a nurse, social worker, or physician from a target program who is deeply committed to bringing trauma-sensitive yoga to the VA. This step is key. You need an advocate who knows the system, someone who already has a professional network within the facility and who knows how to secure program funding. For example, the VA contact person will know that the fiscal year runs from October to October and will know that in July through September there's the end of the year drop money that needs to be spent. Your contact will help you to formulate an end goal. Our goal was to establish a 10-week pilot program drawing referrals from 4 VA programs: the Women's Healthcare Program, PTSD, military sexual trauma, and residential substance abuse. The third step is to build support within the facility. No matter how good your program is, if you don't have folks excited about it, you won't have the support for the pilot. This step has several parts. The first is to gauge support. This is where networking comes in. Because my VA contact is a social worker who is well regarded and knows many of the staff, I was able to present for 5 minutes to 100 clinicians at an all-hands meeting. And interestingly, by show of hands, almost all were interested in making referrals of clients and patients to trauma-sensitive yoga, and they were interested in an in-service on using simple yoga both for compassion fatigue and for vicarious trauma. With that support, we wrote a proposal and submitted and presented it to each of the programs being invited to participate. My contact set up a time in which I could speak to each of the programs for 10 minutes. Again, military sexual trauma, PTSD, the Women's Health Program, and substance abuse. I will note that the PTSD group wanted to talk for 40 minutes. The social worker with whom I was working told me this presentation was a key component in the success of the pilot. That is, presenting a short, professional, evidence-based proposal that was grounded in science. These clinicians cannot justify or defend a touchy-feely yoga program. Keep it evidence-based and professional. I would even suggest wearing street clothes, not yoga clothes, to do the presentation. The following is optional, but I did offer a 3-hour training for staff on simple yoga for compassion fatigue and vicarious trauma. It was another good way to build staff support. It also lends credibility to your entire yoga program if you have CE credit approval. This is a Green Tree Yoga program approved for CE credits for both nurses and social workers. I would be happy to provide you with more free information on our program and the process for getting continuing education credit approval. But as I said, it's optional. It's just a program that we were able to offer. Step number 4 is the pilot, getting organized. My advice is to start small. Keep in mind that a program under $2,500 does not have to go out to bid. Our pilot consisted of 3 classes a week for 10 weeks. One class was mixed gender, one class was women only, and the third class was for the substance abuse residential treatment program. Check the times with the programs giving referrals. Residential treatment already had a yoga program, but they wanted to try trauma sensitive, and so we used their time slot. And to accommodate veterans that were on staff, we scheduled one for 5:30 after work. Another example is the MST group. A convenient time for them to meet was right after their counseling session because everyone was there. And don't forget the details. Check space availability for the time you want. A small but ever so important detail. The next step is marketing. We designed and sent different flyers to referring clinicians and referring physicians. In addition, since these free classes are open to all veterans, we needed to reach out to the community. Social media, flyers, and PSAs are good ways to let the vets know about this free program. Another small but important detail is to identify a person who each week will give reminder calls to the veterans who have signed up for the program. This proved to be very helpful. You can put all this work into setting up a program, and if nobody comes, the pilot is not going to be successful. We had a volunteer who was happy to help us with this. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to keep good records for the pilot project, beginning with attendance. A focus has to be on collecting data about the program, and since it's the VA, it needs to be anecdotal data. More data can be collected by filling out an observation sheet after each class for each participant. This actually turned out to be one of my favorite parts of the program, as it gave me time to focus on each veteran as an individual, and to really think about how what I was doing was affecting these folks. Sometimes you have more to write. This young woman gave me the opportunity to practice something in Dave's book. Now, I didn't know if it would work or not, but here was a visibly upset young woman tearfully telling me that she looked fine on the outside, she was walking around on the street, but she wasn't fine. I simply asked her if she would breathe with me. I suggested she stand with her back against the post. So we spent about 1 minute breathing in, lifting the arms overhead, breathing out, releasing the arms down. She smiled weakly and offered that she felt better, and then she left. I recommend that you type the comments. It makes them easier for the referring clinician to read if requested, and it makes them easier to include in your final report. Another key piece of data collection is the evaluation filled out by each veteran after each class. I explained that the VA wanted to know if this class were valuable to them. That always met with appreciative nods. I like the post-class evaluation for several reasons. One is that it allows the veteran the time to pause and think about the benefits or the concerns that arose during the practice. Secondly, it gives them a voice. Someone cares about their experience. And thirdly, it gives you valuable feedback that you otherwise probably would not have. And again, these comments are an invaluable part of your final report. It's also wonderful immediate feedback for you. Toward the end of the pilot, investigate what other PR options you have, whether it's local radio or TV. We had a wonderful write-up from the VA newsletter, and the VA photographer came, so we were able to use the photographs. Written testimonials are wonderful, but do what you can to get good pictures of your program. And now, from pilot to funded program. Now's the time to write your proposal, which includes all of the data you've collected, all of the photographs, the articles, the PR, whatever you have that will provide evidence that this program was successful. We asked several of the veterans to write letters to their clinicians in support of the program, and these letters were included. But remember, keep it short and easy to read. Everyone is busy. We met again with each provider group to present the proposal and the results of our pilot. I will tell you that that felt really good. This second meeting is another way to build organizational support and solicit input. Hopefully, your takeaway message from these 5 steps is that you need a goal-oriented plan. Then you need to be persistent and you need to be patient. It has been my experience that building strong yoga programs is about sharing resources. Many wonderful and talented people have donated their expertise to Green Tree Yoga. In that spirit of sharing, I would love to offer the materials that we've developed in the hope that more trauma-sensitive yoga programs can be developed. The Simple Yoga for Compassion Fatigue for CE credits is a narrated PowerPoint in 6 modules, each 10 minutes in length. I look forward to hearing from you and thank you for giving me this time.